And now on to the details. The Electricity Company of Ghana has inaugurated a task force named Pay Your Bills to go after customers who default on their electricity bills and those engaged in illegal connections. The task force, which will operate at the district, regional and national levels, aims to ensure prompt payment of bills and drastically reduce private debts, which currently stands at over 500 million Ghana cedis. Minister in charge of the power sector, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, expressed worry that accumulation of debt by all categories of customers, which he says has gravely affected effective operations in the sector.
Inaugurating the task force, Dr. Kwabena Donkor emphasized its members would deal firmly and without fear or favor.
Ghanaian industry is losing its competitiveness because of our power situation. And therefore, we are launching an exercise today to retrieve, I won't even say collect, retrieve from individuals, commercial entities, public entities, and all those who owe ECG.
The minister again explained that the unstable power supply in recent times has spawned many dissatisfied customers who have become unwilling to pay their bills, with adverse implications for the revenues of VRA, Gridco and the independent power producers.
The poor balance sheet of ECG is reflected in poorer balance sheets of our generating entities. It serves as a disincentive to investment. It further diminishes our ability as a nation to attract independent power producers. And it results in poor quality service to the consumer.
Dr. Kwabena Donkor said the ministry is taking frantic steps to move away from the centralized billing and paying system to ensure that MMDAs and other government institutions are made responsible for the electricity they consume, while intensifying the distribution of prepaid meters nationwide.
So there's not going to be a central payment of bills for MDAs. In fact, that is already in place. And so there has been a cutoff point. So MDAs are responsible for the payment of their own bills. And therefore, the question of future accumulation will not arise. And I'm going to ensure that ECG bungalows, ECG assets are billed and metered just like any other entity.
The ECG has meanwhile warned habitual defaulters and those who are into the installation of unauthorized meters that virtually earn the company no revenues to desist or be made to face the full rigors of the law. Ridwan Karim Dini Osman, Joy News, Accra.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command is calling for what officials describe as house cleaning of Ghana's security agencies to ensure sanity. It comes in the wake of recent arrest of some security personnel for various crimes. Now, in the latest incident, an immigration officer was picked up at Obuasi for illegally selling arms to civilians. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
Regional Deputy Police Commander ACP Ampofo Duku says the worrying trend raises questions about the caliber of people in the security services. ACP Duku made the call when the police arrested an immigration officer suspected to be dealing in illegal arms and ammunition. 36-year-old Richard Atiso, who is Assistant Immigration Control Officer, was arrested when he was negotiating to sell a gun to a supposed buyer. His arrest was prompted by police intelligence, upon which a policeman was detailed to feign interest to buy a gun. He later met suspect Kwesi Deira, who promised to contact his brother, who was in possession of the said pistol. The two met the supplier, who turned out to be an immigration officer, Richard Atiso, who demanded $2,500 for the supply. Richard in 2 days met the buyer, who is a police officer, and offered an Italian-made Brownie Mod 92 pistol with 24 pieces of 9mm live ammunition for a fee of 4,000 cedis instead of the earlier agreed price.
Now we have established the fact that they are arms and ammunition dealers, the two of them. If you look here, this is the ammunition for the pistol that was negotiated for, and this is the pistol, a brand new pistol. And so if this is on sale to any prospective buyer at Obuasi, then you know the danger the whole country is facing.
In the course of receiving the money, the police arrested him for dealing in illegal arms and ammunition. They further discovered 6 pieces of 8mm ammunition in his car. ACP Ampofoduku believes it is high time authorities begin house cleaning to sanitize the security service. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
We're still in the Ashanti region, and its Security Council is reintroducing Operation Cow Leg in a renewed effort to evict Fulani herdsmen who are accused of causing mayhem with their cattle in their Go area. It is not clear how different the operations will be this time round, but officials say a joint police-military task force will be deployed to ensure successful execution. Regional Minister Samuel Sapon announced this after separate discussions with both the residents and the nomads during a visit by council members. Another report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
The decision follows last week's trip to Agogo by officials of the Regional Police Command in a bid to find a solution to what has become known as the Fulani Menace. First, the regional minister and his entourage paid a courtesy call on Agogohene and his elders to brief them on the decision of the Regional Security Council.
Since I look at the Regional Security Council, I have been saying, Canero. Neo Bamboo could be a Agogoha. Security agency and I came home. I woman area Agogo Krum be just an increase any idea. Said the Bear Abobia, yet the ultimate concourse will be a fool. And as Abobia so intimate and Kumubi, and I will be Kumubi, and I get it. Since the Regional Security Council. Sa ashe sa Bamboo Kurmo kina sisi amelu ka say ye ba ye de car ba ko aba na car na ye de ba ye no empenifo no aye say car no ba ko enye enough enti aye say ye be sa de car ba ko aba be kan ho na ekwan bi obefa so a emua no a se be predu as ye gu ha no a ye say govuvu a enti ma ye asem no ekọ court ba court so ma order.
Dr. Samuel Sapon advised the chiefs who are alleged to be working closely with the Fulani herdsmen to bring cattle into the town to desist. But the Agogohema Nana Afrakuma Kusi Obudum dismissed the allegation.
Naka Fulani for no bet me penny for no not just a who I know say penny way and not penny way. Minimini say and penny for Hanana, a disay Jumano. And no, they are tossed beyond so this year, Muyi the Maya Wahano. Ye won't walk from her crana, Bibi say by a 2 minute dream home. A Timadaroma, a stremo baby obiano, a stremo, Momanimra.
Natives and other residents at Agogo and surrounding communities have for years raised security concerns about the activities of Fulanis. They accuse the nomads of perpetrating crime including murder and rape, besides the destruction of farm crops by grazing cattle.
1,000 billions of hectares. Now we are. We are obi atwa bro 20 acres Fulani for awe okoka ya na ye baba ye dey Fulani for omo agrek yansu yafuo no agrek enti media de metimi aka se omo free ha
ono nso etoda mutimi di jatum na omo ahye se de esre na fefe ba na moa na ba wie na ye kuruma no so yansu ya ho kire omo se ya mo bia kwese nsu aye no omo attack na omo kana nya no kwatu ensuo eda ho ye nyina ekosa bi nom wo be kono na omo de moa no akwa kwetietim ba to ko kasa ade ntina mo de moa na be hu ensuo na wo asem ani ani at the moment one pe ba bi amfa ye beku.
Despite a court order in 2012 for the Fulanis to be evicted, the protracted rift has persisted and natives say it is becoming worse by the day. The Fulanis are said to have defied an arrangement to restrict them to a designated grazing area for their cattle. But spokesperson for the Fulanis, Alhaji Mohammed Meragu, said that was not the case, adding the farmers are rather interfering in their activities.
1 million. Police station and the man. Nam pesa bibi said ye kasa beba and a panu cho and a wayini and normal koye. Oh, and the chambia on one rush here. Baby, I can't say young cono. You want on more rush here about because you are done fertilizer. Wow, so on munia on muda hope who can no be beer or what? Nay, ye. Wow, only thing I did a problem ever I know on Montem. But who go here? You're more than 10 miles away from them. Almost 20 miles too. But on more Russia, on more say.
Farming and other economic activities have negatively been affected, with some women suggesting they hire male escorts to be able to transport farm produce to market centers. The Fulani community admits causing destruction of farms, but they seek to justify the action with claims they compensate affected farmers. Spokesperson Alhaji Mohammed Meragu, however, pleads with RECSEC to show them mercy.
Yetimi boa ye hu yetimi ye bibia but unfortunately this year unframano edin pa ema na ntwe no said the eba ya no na onmu timi eko out saa onmo de ebu de onmu ehwe onmu no ena onmu ko sai amanfo no ma but ya nantimo ya ko hu obi no mu ya tuatua bi obi no mu obi ko last week ma no 100 million ebe 50 million em say e bi a chire ebe ma no ye nanti eni onumu eye ekitia ho said ye eye betu ye.
That plea may not have a place in RECSEC's scheme of things. Dr. Sapon, who chairs the RECSEC, says a roadmap for implementation will be ready by next week for the operation to begin. The regional minister and some members of the Regional Security Council later visited some destroyed farms to assess the level of damage. Upon hearing the news, the Fulani herdsmen relocated to an unreachable area. The news team chanced upon these cattle and herdsmen, whom the news team was told was armed. Unfortunately, the security personnel could not locate him. As he took to his heels, residents are excited about the announcement by RECSEC, especially in the presence of the top hierarchy of the region's security agencies. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
President Mahama says someone needs to be held responsible for the fire that destroyed the Central Medical Stores in Tema, the country's largest medical supplies depot. The president, who made these comments during a visit to the site, said the country cannot continue to suffer such disasters, particularly at a time where it is facing challenges with the economy.
The fire service are investigating and coming up with their report, and whatever the report says, if it was arson, it's criminal. If it was, a fire that occurred, by accident, then we also have to ask what is the state of fire preparedness for sensitive installations like this. And somebody must take some responsibility. We can't continue to have this kind of situation happen where the nation loses so much money. And these times when we have economic challenges, to lose medical supplies and equipment worth more than 300 million Ghana cedis is totally unacceptable. And so I'll ask the fire service to conduct the investigation quickly and also liaise with national security and conduct an investigation. Let's see exactly what happened.
He charged municipal and district assemblies to liaise with the Ghana National Fire Service in order to prevent such disasters from recurring.
But this should send a signal to all heads of MDAs that they must liaise with the fire service and ensure that their premises are well protected against fire. And I guess if we do that, things like this will not happen again.
Meanwhile, a delegation from the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, which visited the scene of the fire earlier, called for a probe into why expired products were kept at the storage facility. A former chief pharmacist and director of pharmaceutical services at the Ministry of Health, James Ohiminche, said the law should take its full course should it be established that someone failed to do their work.
That shouldn't be the case for expired medications. There's a system, of getting a committee to look at them and then disposing of them according to laid down regulations. Then if somebody is found culpable, well, he can face the full rigors of the laws of the land.
The Ghana National Fire Service eventually managed to put out the fire some 72 hours after it began. The fire is believed to have destroyed drugs worth more than 230 million Ghana cedis.
Yes, so watching the Primetime Bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV and also on ABN TV across Europe. We'll take a breather here. Please don't go away. You're welcome back and many thanks for staying. Now, Finance Minister Seth Terkper has hinted that the 2015 budget projections might not be realized due to the declining rate of crude oil prices on the world market. Addressing journalists on the current state of the economy, he said the ministry may have to go back to Cabinet and subsequently Parliament for a review of the projections in the budget if crude prices continue to drop on the international market. Brent crude prices have fallen from $99.37 per barrel to $48.80, a decrease of more than 50%.
Minister for Finance said Terkper told the press lower oil prices will contribute to the diverging prospects for oil exportation and importation countries, including Ghana. According to him, the estimated petroleum benchmark revenue price may not be achieved.
The estimated petroleum revenue price of 99, which I just stated, may not be achieved. And this can have negative implications for the budget. In fact, we are calculating the numbers and it's estimated that we know that definitely there will be a decline in the annual budget funding amount, which was put in the budget on the revenue side of the budget. Let me state, however, that the falling crude oil price will have a mixed impact. I just mentioned one. The figures that we use on the revenue side in the budget will be impacted. We've been discussing in the media the impact, on automatic adjustments and a reduction in price. That would affect, the subsidy, that is paid.
He said the government is moving to rationalize expenditures, improve revenue mobilization, and implement structural measures in order to achieve set targets. Seth Terkper confirmed the negotiations with the IMF is still on course.
The fund fielded 3 missions. The fund's mission have gone around with us on 3 negotiations, 2 in Ghana and 1 in Washington. The last one actually coincided, with the week in which we presented, the budget. The goal of government is clear. As far as the IMF negotiations and policy are concerned, we have sought to align the homegrown policy, the Senchi Forum, outcomes. Many of you were in Senchi, as well as the 2013 policy outcomes, in the discussions or negotiations with the fund.
Ghana has formally requested for support in the areas of policy and credit from the IMF for a possible program in August. On the discrepancies in the payroll of public servants, the minister said measures have been put in place to resolve it.
And this whole thing relates to, employees, who are recruited in Korle Bu. And you can see the print is very small. So with this, you recall that we did an exercise in Korle Bu. It's based on information. we are doing this for each institution. And it is broken down department by department within the institution. This is the payroll cost and strength for Latebio Koshi Primary and Junior High School for the month of October 2014. This is how low we are going in our endeavor to clean the payroll.
He also said negotiations between organized labor, employers and government is underway on the minimum wage and base pay.
Well, they are young and ambitious, and they have dreams of becoming great men and women to help propel Ghana to another level on the development ladder. But these dreams may not come true for children at Banaman, a community at Amasaman here in Accra, because the only school that serves the community, the Fomwak Islamic School, does not have enough rooms for as many as may want to get an education. Derek Okosam has the rest of the story.
Between the rails and streets of Banaman, Amasaman, is the school, Fomwak Islamic School. Though an Islamic school, the government of Ghana in 2012 absorbed it into its cluster of schools. Though that gesture meant the school had access to government support and public funds, it has not addressed their biggest concern. Its very existence between the street and the rails presents a constant threat to the lives of these peoples. The drainage system in the school is also nothing to write home about. According to the pupils, anytime it rains, the school gets flooded and classes are called off. They had other concerns.
There is poor drainage in the school and the water cannot flow. When we are in the class, we will be smelling the stench from the gutter. So teachers pause teaching and it distracts our learning.
Whenever it rains and the water can't flow, so if it rains, it stays there and the smells comes to our class. If a teacher is in the class, the teacher cannot teach us anymore.
We need more laboratory, science lab, library. Don't have anything at all. Even the trainway is worrying us a lot. And sometimes when rains fall, the school all gets flooded. So
when the children are playing, the cars don't pay attention to them. When the children stop them to cross, they don't listen to them.
The assistant head of the school reiterates the challenges they go through every day in their quest to educate these peoples.
And one of the challenges is the gutter I think you have already been there. And then the place, when you see the slope of the environment, whenever it rains, there's a lot of water. The place gets flooded. And apart from that, we have the infrastructure problem. We don't have the classrooms up to the number of classes we should have. For instance, the KG 1 and 2 are housed in one classroom. And then the class 1, where they are now, they are not supposed to be there. But because we don't have the infrastructure, we have to manage where they are. So, and then the furniture, we don't have enough furniture. So we are appealing to the government and then the assembly, the district assembly.
She's appealing to government to come rectify the problems to avert any tragedy that may befall them. Until that help comes, these pupils will have to live with their many problems. Derek Ekwo-Sam, Banaman, Amasaman.
Now, though the media in Ghana has made significant contributions in the development of Ghana's governance structures, there have been serious shortcomings which will have to be addressed so it can play a more effective role. This was the observation made by a panel of practitioners who deliberated on the industry's role at a forum organized in honor of late ace Ghanaian broadcaster Komla Dumor to mark the first anniversary of his passing.
Komla Dumor, without a doubt, was Ghana's finest export to the world as far as broadcasting was concerned. Having started as a traffic watch reporter on Joy FM, through to anchoring Ghana's biggest breakfast show on radio, Komla, as he was affectionately called, was back in the day an inspiration to most up-and-coming journalists. With passion and hard work, Komla rose through the ranks to become one of the top anchors at the BBC. So, on the occasion of the first media forum in his honor, it was apt that the panelists analyzed the media's impact on Ghana's democracy. Speaking at the forum under the theme, "Has the media helped or hurts governance in Ghana?" the former Reuters and BBC correspondent Kweku Sechi-Ado says, despite a few excesses, the media has to a large extent helped shape the country's democracy.
The exposés that we've seen in the past as well as today, with the Controller and Accountant General's report, documents that would have been hidden in tomes, on files, rotting away somewhere, are brought to life and shared with all of us, with the public, with the aim of improving governance. I think looking at that, I'm inclined to conclude that, and of course there are negatives as well, but my time to go into those. But looking at these positives, I'm tempted to conclude that the media have helped more than hurt governance.
A media consultant, Kojo Mensah, however, largely disagreed. He also criticized the suggestion that the proliferation of media houses and sheer number of practitioners made it difficult to rein in those who failed to play by the rules.
It arrogates to itself the responsibility and the boast that we are the fourth realm of the estate. And that comes with a price, and it comes with a responsibility that oftentimes is not what we see evidenced by what the media does. The media does great jobs when it wants to, but it has gotten to the point now where sensationalism, yellow journalism, very bad grammar are the order of the day for some media houses. And then, so we have to look at that because it hinders, governance, education. So if you have bad grammar in your press and on your radio stations, you're teaching children. And part of your governance responsibility is to actually educate. If we call ourselves professionals, then we have the same standards that obtain for a doctor or a lawyer. And I don't think that the more doctors you have, the more you should say that there are going to be unprofessional doctors in the midst. If you're a professional, you're a professional. It's as simple as that. 43 radio stations in Accra does not mean that there's an excuse for 10 of them to be unprofessional.
A news editor at Joy FM, Jifa Bampo, however, challenged the claim.
For us, we maintain that we will continue to do that. But I think as a people, let's look within ourselves. What is the standard that we want? So that when we know that this is the standard that we want, those who are not adhering to the standard will shape up. If they don't shape up, they'll shape out.
President of the National Media Commission, Kabra Blay Amihir, meanwhile, admonished journalists to adopt best practices in the interest of the masses. Other members on the panel, moderated by Professor Audrey Gajepo of the School of Communication Studies, Legon, were the Managing Director of the Graphic Communications Group, Kenneth Ashigbe, and Peace FM's Abu Isamoni.
Let's do some business now. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has maintained fuel prices in its bi-weekly review despite growing calls for further reduction. The authority on Friday cited debt owed the bulk oil distribution companies as reason for maintaining the prices, which will be up for review again in a fortnight. The price of Brent, the international benchmark for crude, has fallen by 2.24 dollars to a near 6-year low of $45.19 and traded below West Texas Intermediate, the American benchmark, for the first time since July 2013. The NPA at the beginning of the year reduced the ex-pump prices by 10%. In a statement to announce a 10% reduction, the NPA said this decision takes a balanced position of continuous effort to reduce outstanding under-recoveries and at the same time reflect falling prices of petroleum products in the world market. Farmers can now access information about complex problems following the establishment of a network of experts by agriculture information provider Isoko to deal with their concerns. The information provided via mobile phones will help farmers resolve challenges and enhance production.
15 crop scientists, agronomists, nutritionists, and entomologists from the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Agriculture, as well as other private specialists, constitute the network of experts. They will be providing information on how to fight pests and diseases, apply fertilizer, as well as innovative planting techniques and storage.
The choice of variety is some of the agronomic information. We talk about fertilizer application. When do you apply? What is the quantity that you're going to apply on a particular date so that the plant can benefit well? And even the sowing date, the date that you sow. I mean, when it is so obvious that, look, at this time, if you're going to sow and it's not going to help you, I mean, why do you sow? So these are, when we talk about agronomy, we are also talking about husbandry, the husbandry practices. What are those basic and salient and very simple things that you can do to enhance the productivity? And the productivity simply means that the yield per unit area.
Okay, if we had to bulk, can win 95 CDs.
Using technology and better management, Isoko is determined to get the right information to farmers to increase their production.
The kind of questions, we've documented every single question. We've broken it down by category, by gender, by is it weather, is it pests. So we've got an insight into what the farmers are really asking, which is fairly unique, I would argue. So communicating that and making sure that that communication is correct, recorded, comprehensive and accurate, we do through fairly tight management using two things, good technology and an amazing manager.
Management of Isoko believes once farmers see the benefits of the e-extension service they are being provided, they will be attracted to subscribe.
Fortunately for most of our farmers on our platform now, they belong to one project or the other, so the projects are paying for them. I hope and I believe over the years working with these projects that once these projects phases out and the farmers have come to realize how effective and how the platform and how these calls coming into the call center has helped them to increase in their income, then they themselves will get to understand that I have to spend in my business as a farmer to be able to get information that will help me make more money.
Close to 2 years now, Isoko has been providing information on market prices, weather forecast, and best farm practices to over 40,000 farmers.
Now, every once in a while, the human will defies logic and science. 33-year-old Gabriel Kweku Jan is a typical example of defying the odds, having suffered a fracture in the spine some 7 years ago when he was run over by his brother's car at Wenchi in the Bono Ahafo region. Kweku Jan has managed to turn his situation around. Doctors said there was nothing to be done about his situation, but he is now a phone repairer working from his sick bed at the Dwom Bone Setting Clinic, where Rafiq Salam met him.
The Dwom Bone Setting Clinic, located in the Nadole Kalio district over the years, has treated and healed several people who hitherto could not be cured. Gabriel Kweku Jan is a 33-year-old native of Old Wenchi in the Bono Ahafo region. He was run into by his brother's car 7 years ago at Wenchi, resulting in a spinal fracture which has affected his waist and legs.
Sincere apologies for that technical hitch. That we will bring you that story much later, but that's it for business news. And now let's do some sports. And Joy Sports can report that King Faisal have served a writ to the Ghana Football Association. The writ was handed to the association through its lawyer, Fedio Sori. According to our well-placed sources, the GFA had failed to provide the undertaking stated as part of the lifting of the previous injunction by a human rights court, which allowed the delayed league season to proceed. According to Alhaji Grusa's side, the Ghana FA was supposed to pass a resolution at Congress which could have allowed them to play in the Ghana Premier League if they win the case. The case will be held on January 28, 2015. Meanwhile, the Ghana Football Association insists that all match day 1 Premier League matches will be played as scheduled and are urging clubs, match day officials and the general public to disregard reports in sections of the media that the 2014-2015 First Capital Plus Premier League will not kick off on Saturday, January 17, 2015 as planned. Premier League giants Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko were not part of the list of 500 finest football clubs in the world based on their performance in competitive games in 2014, released by the International Federation of Football History and Statistics. Real Madrid beat the 2013 highest-ranked team Bayern Munich by gaining 381 points. Ghanaian clubs were conspicuously missing due to their poor performances in the period under review, and the Hearts of Oak administrative manager Hakman Edu is worried about this.
It's very bad in the first place because looking at the level or the name of Hearts of Oak and considering the height of Ghana football, it will be very bad for this to happen to teams in Ghana, especially Hearts of Oak and probably Kumasi Asante Kotoko. This may be attributed to so many problems, including the economy itself, because the economy is so bad that, you know, you and I know that the players will always have to travel outside Ghana to make life good for them. And as they keep on going, every season you see a number of players. Even this season, House of Oak, we lost 2 of our key players, Nuru Sule and Wilfred Kobna. Now, these are players who could have maybe helped House of Oak this season, but they are gone because of the economic situation we are talking about. So this is the major problem the economy or the football industry is facing in Ghana here. And probably maybe other factors, including management and a few other things.
The 30th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations kick-off on Saturday, January 17, 2015, with 16 teams slugging it out for the ultimate rise to be called continental champions. But the build-up to the continental showpiece has been all but impressive. It took a nosedive when initial host Morocco called for a postponement of the tournament over fears of a possible spread of the deadly Ebola virus. Now, the rights to host the tournament were subsequently given to Equatorial Guinea, but not without concerns about the short period of time available to the new host. The usual frenzy associated with the tournament is on the low in Ghana too. Ahead of the start of the tournament though, Joy News has been finding out from some sports journalists what may have accounted for the low-key press and if the Black Stars have a shot at gold.
The Black Stars Management Committee chairman will tell you himself that they know that the Black Stars does not have the unanimous support of Ghanaians because of what went on in Brazil. So if you ask me, this is redemption time. If the Black Stars want to get Ghanaians back on side, the only thing they've got to do is to win it. Problem is, the GFA themselves know how difficult it is. That's why they said Ghana should go and do well. And then it brings another paradox. Since 2008, Ghana has always made the last 4 of every African Nations Cup tournament. So doing well will probably mean going beyond the semis. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, the media hype was to be expected, a low level was to be expected because of what has gone on. And Asamoah Gyan and his troops will have to do everything to disabuse the perception that they are a bunch of mercenaries. I don't think they are, but unfortunately, the events in Brazil did not help their cause.
You can't underestimate how disappointed Ghanaians were, especially with the way the Black Stars behaved. People are still unhappy. Throughout the qualifiers, you saw the apathy. People didn't want to watch the Black Stars. That thing is still there, whether you like it or not. Of course, some people are happy to a larger extent that the Black Stars will be playing, but we truly would have to be honest not to expect supporters to just forget about everything that happened in Brazil and say that, okay, we are throwing our weight behind it. There would always be people who would want to tag along only when things are getting okay. And are people justified to sit back a bit and say that, okay, forget it, it's simply the Nations Cup? I think they are justified after everything that happened in Brazil.
That'll be all for sports. There's more news at myjoyonline.com and multitvworld.com. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. I tweet at JNewsGifty. You can also look for my page on Facebook. Up next is PM Express with Nana and Sakwa. Many thanks for your time. Do stay tuned.